Today we conclude our coverage of the year 2021 in the world of Canadian MMA with our final list, the top 10 best MMA events of the year. In order to rank the events, I gave a note from 0 to 5 using 0.5 decimals to every fight on every card, and I divided the total points for each card by the number of fights, creating an average grade for each event. I then ranked the events from the lowest to the highest average grade. I've got no honorable mentions today as there were like 15 events this year in the country, so handing out honorable mentions is like if everybody won, and that's just not how life goes. So at number 10 we've got BFL 70. The last card of the year for BFL gave us some good actions and some fun highlights such as City vs Wazook, Schellenberg against Tremaine, and Susi against Akinde. Unfortunately, the very ill-advised fight between Jaden and Martin and 8 and 26 Chester Post drops the final grade down a little bit for the 10th spot. At number 9 it's BTC 11. With an average grade already over 2.8 out of 5, there's not much difference between the 9th spot and the 2nd spot on the list, which has an average grade of 3. BTC 11 did not have the strongest main event, but some great highlights like the Adme brothers winning their fights and Colton Cronkite's submission over Chris Chapman still made for a great night of action. At number 8, it's BFL 67. By far the biggest card of the year in terms of number of fights, BFL 67 gave us some highs and one incredible low. The highs include the amazing heavyweight champion versus champion main event between Kai Machado and Christian Larson, as well as Rischuk against Cunningham, Platon against Ovorka, McAloon against Nguyen, and the pro debut of Nicolas Ouellet and Johnny Broad. For the low, well, the Synagoga against Powell decision still unfortunately looms very large over this event. At number 7, it's BTC 12. The event was great, but it was by far the shortest one of the year with only 4 fights. They all delivered for sure, but it's tough to put such an event over those who had triple the amounts of contests. But the fight still delivered so much that it ended up beating some of the other events on the average grade. At number 6, it's BTC 13. This one is the absolute opposite of BTC 12, as it was also an amazing event with some great moments, but it was maybe just a little bit too long. I don't know if it was the 8-hour drive after only 1 hour of sleep or the fashion show at the intermission that killed us, but I feel like this event could have been top 3 of the year if it was maybe 1 hour shorter. Still, amazing highlights like Sarah Kaufman, Tisha Gautreau, the whole first round of the Bantamweight tournament, and the pro debut of Cody Chovanchik. It's time for the top 5, and at number 5 we've got BFL 68. The first of 2 shows on back-to-back nights really put the bar way too high for the second night, as BFL gave us highlights from top to bottom. Starting with the pro debut of pro football player Terrence Jeffers Harris, to the incredible Strazella Cuevas fight, to the highlight reel Bobby Poulter and Johnny Nguyen knockouts, to the domination of Austin Batra by Christian Tremaine, to the Series City first round win by Triangle over Gio Platon. This was a night to remember for sure. At number 4, it's Unified 42. Like I've said a few times, things didn't go Unified's way through their first 2 events of the year, which were good but not great. It all came back to normal with Unified 42, which was a card for the ages. Mariusz Suskiewicz wowed us in one of the biggest main event fights of the year against Graham Park. Shane Campbell continued his dominance with a dismantling of a tough international opponent. KB Boular gave us a highlight reel finish. Simon Marcus had a weird but fun pro debut, and rookies Jet Grant and Ramil Kamilov were incredible. We couldn't ask for more. At number 3, it's BFL 66. This event started with a decision win by Indrup Verk, but we were not gonna need the judges for the rest of the night in what was BFL's return event from the pandemic. Ivan Rischuk and Gio Platon had some vintage performances in their pro debuts. Ali Wazouk secured a title shot with a great win. Karen Cameron pulled off a submission of the year contender over Keenan Keller. Dario shocked the world by putting Craig Shintani's lights out in the first, and the first edition of Machado against Maine was an absolute banger. In the main event, Achilles Estremadura delivered a brutal KO to close the night off the right way. At number 2, it's BTC 10. Looks like the return cards are the best, as BTC came back from the pandemic with an absolute banger in Vancouver. The main event between Lucas Neufeld and Josh Kwiatkowski, as well as Govro against Atme, Roberts versus Guy Voronsky, Lang versus Larson, and the opener Mikkel Vigny versus Fisher were all in the running for Fight of the Year. Isaiah Meditok and Tyler Vankill also put on Submissions of the Year contenders in an event that couldn't have disappointed even if it tried. At number 1, I can't give them the Promotion of the Year, but I sure as hell can give them the Event of the Year. It's Samourai MMA. Yes, I am super biased as I was hired to do commentary for this event, which was a childhood dream of mine, but still, Samurai's production value is as good as we were used to in the TKO days, which was by far the best MMA promotion in the country when it still ran shows. Also, the event started off with an amazing fight between Pierre Tivierge and Yacine Nasri and ended with my knockout of the year, my performance of the year, and my fight of the year back to back to back. It was the greatest night of my life and I will always remember it as the moment that defined Canadian MMA in 2021. That concludes my coverage of the year 2021 in Canadian MMA. Make sure to check all of my other lists if you haven't checked already. Leave a like if you liked, tell me how you feel in the comments, and make sure to subscribe to MMA Talk for some more Canadian MMA content. See you next time.